The crew worldwide, from Cali to Twitter, real hardcore fans, boxing ass niggas, consistency cops, police the views, we'll pull up receipts for any debate you choose. Shout outs to Clanarchy for the dope production. Ring Gang stay with the best discussions. Ring Gang Radio.
The last and the final big fight of the weekend, and this is the one I was actually in the house for. Ring Gang in the house, was Demetrius Andrade making his second defense of the WBO middleweight title against Maciej Sulecki. Being there, I'll have to say this too, the atmosphere, you can tell, as I said as much before, Providence hadn't had a world title fight there in about 28 years since Vinny Paz won the 154 belt over there back in like 91. You know what I'm saying? So, Providence, why it's had fights, it hasn't had one fight. So they was hungry for that world championship boxing, man. Like the atmosphere was, was good. I mean, you had Cape Verdeans, they were out there. You had the Polish, they had Polish people, they were out there. You had Dominicans, they were out there. It's like, there was a great buzz of energy.
Yeah, the crowd was lively, and it transpired over the TV. Like you could see it on the TV. Sometimes you could be somewhere and it's live, but when you watch it back later, and it's like, oh damn.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
this shit was live. They were starved for some world champion boxing.
And nigga, I was there like when it was time for the main event. Oh my God! The Polish part of the stands, like you hear them singing some sort of song, man. I think I caught some of it on video, man. In fact, what I probably need to do during 4th of July is just to go through some of the stuff I've captured or whatever, and we share with some of the masses, whether on Instagram, on the website or whatever. I need to go do that. But man, the electricity was out there, man. Like Providence loves Demetrius Andrade, man. Like he got a hell of a reaction, in the ring, man. And Sulecki got the Polish fans up and running. But at least this time there wasn't some wild shit like motherfuckers taking off their shirts and shit. That's what I saw before for the Andrade.
This was an old-fashioned, world class, champion defend his belt type of fight.
Yeah,
the challenger had his people. The champion had his people hometown, but the challenger was there. The shit was set up on point. You can't front on it.
Yeah, and then too, and I think that pumped Andre up in the beginning because dude came out in the first couple rounds with fire in his eyes. It's rare that you actually see this dude fight the way he had fought before. But nigga, when I tell you, when he dropped Sulecki in the first round, I swear I thought the roof of the Dunkin' Donuts Center would pop right off, man. It was deafening, literally deafening. My ears were I was screaming and I couldn't hear myself screaming, bro. That's how much. Cause I was cause the sound it was so piercing. You know what I'm saying? The crowd was just on fuego, as Maro on Showtime likes to say. Honestly, I thought Andre was gonna finish this shit before round 5 at least. But after that, I think after about a couple of rounds, he settled in and just did his usual boxing. Now Andre gets a lot of slack for his boxing, not in a bad, because he can box, but he's very unorthodox and uses a lot of movement, lateral movement. I mean, he uses the ring a lot, and he throws a whole different type of jabs on him, and Sulecki had nothing for him. Mostly because Sulecki could barely hit him. That was the thing. Even when Andre started getting a little bit sloppy near the end, Sulecki was just too afraid to actually go in and get it because there were times where Andre was just literally standing, winding himself up and throwing wild ass right hands, and usually and still Sulecki still just would not move in on him. It was to the point. See, this was a different type of outclassing. Now I know people are like, "Oh, he didn't put Selecki, but he still knocked him down." But
and he hurt him multiple times.
Yeah, he hurt him multiple times.
There's a difference between if you say Jamal Charlo washed Brandon Adams, then Andre washed, repeated, fucking hung him out to dry.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a huge skill difference. And it's crazy because, you know, Selecki is a way liver opponent than Brandon Adams. Like Selecki, you know, at least had a shot. Shoot. You know, he almost took Jacobs to the brink.
Yeah.
So we knew he was, you know, a higher caliber opponent. And Andre, you know, took him to school, but I think what happens is it's like, you know, fans don't resonate like with Andre for some reason, and with his style.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and all of his fights really look the same. Like he starts out good for like the first 4 or 5 rounds, then he settles down, and the thing is, he moves and sometimes he neglects the steady jab. So it kind of looks like he just takes his foot off the gas, or he kind of gassed out, or not gassed out, but at least he's just trying to get his second win back.
Right.
And watch him get his second win back is kind of boring.
Yeah, I mean,
niggas be like, why couldn't stop him?
I mean, really, the only fight where I think it's probably really the only fight he's had that was a little different from that was the Vanes fight.
That and that Willie Nelson fight.
Well, Willie Nelson fight, I think it was just a steady ass whooping. Like, I mean, it wasn't like
that's what I'm saying. That's what people want to see, bruh. Look, man, if you're supposed to be so much better than someone, if you can't get them out of there, if you can't knock them out, you better steadily beat their ass for 12 fucking rounds without any major letdowns. Like, you know, people, if you take off a round or two, you know, you better really pick it up and finish it out, you know, and keep it going for the rest of the fight like that. You know, with the Willie Nelson fight and the Vanes fight, you know, he was way more consistent. Those are probably his better performances. Even in the Culcay fight, you know, he had a higher punch average, and you know, he got caught at the end, but he was way more steady with his offense. Maybe because he knew he was on, you know, someone else's turf, so he had to do that. But he needed to do his own title fucking fights.
Yeah,
you know, because that's what really happens, and his opponents can't overcome it because he dresses them down, like he intimidates them and just blitzes them so bad the first 5 rounds that they're kind of almost still in shock. So even when he slows down, they don't even pick up on it. They don't even try to even press hard like that because they're like, fuck, I don't want this big 6'1" nigga, you know, with long arms, quick hands, you know, throwing these, you know, looping shots and then revert and do something else, and like they don't even want to open the book again.
No, they don't.
So his fights just kind of just fizzle out. Like he's more like you know how people used to say Zab would lose focus and everything.
Yeah, constantly.
He's like a more intimidating Zab when you think about it, like a more focused, intimidated Zab. But he still has that same, you know, if he doesn't lose focus because he still, you know, wins the fights clean, and no one really makes him pay for it. You know, rarely, you know, Culcay did, but he keeps it going and he wins. Whereas Zab dominates and looks good for the first half, then he start, you know, falling apart a little, but then he kind of gets it together. Then he might get dropped or he might get wobbled, and you know, he gets mad and he throws like a crazy combo and he gets himself back in the fight, and you know, but even then his Zab is so unpredictable. It's like you enjoyed the fight because you're like, you didn't know what the fuck would happen. With Andre, maybe it's the level of opponents or you know, or something where there's no unpredictability about it. Like after the first 5 rounds, we could have easily just said, like, look, all right, the fight over. Like, look, Selecki, you're not gonna really change it up. This nigga got you spooked with his power, length, and everything else, and defense and jab, all that shit. Andre, you're not gonna really pick it up anymore because this guy is kind of tough. So if you guys agree, let's just stop the fight right here and save everybody trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can literally do that with Andre's fights, man. That's why we want to see him fight, higher level opponents. But we got that with Selecki,
Yeah. And sometimes, because Andre sometimes does fight down to the level of his competition. We've seen it happen in the Fox fight. So it's just like that's one of his actual flaws.
When he fought that nigga who was playing the wrong sport.
Yeah, yeah.
The basketball player.
Oh man!
I'm like, throw a basketball into the ring. Shit, maybe this nigga might cross Andre and drop him. I don't know.
Oh man! But make no say, Andre is a skilled fighter. But I think people, the reason why I think they just went for, I think they want more Willie Nelson type of performances where, like, say, he beats him down and stops him.
Exactly, because the thing is, he's capable of it. That's the most frustrating thing about it. No one likes to see a big guy with mad fucking skills, mad attributes, like pretty much the perfectly built fighter. Because someone's put together on that level, and then when they fight people, they're not just crushing them, or they're not making them look pretty or stylistic and cool. They're not consistent. No one wants to see, if fights were just 6 rounds, then Andre would be pound for pound number 1, and he'd be the biggest name in the sport. But world-class boxing matches are 10 rounds and 12 rounds. And you have to look good and put on a show for them 12 rounds. And Andre, he struggles to do that consistently, And
the one thing, too, that I felt enlightening later after the fight, after, Andre, he retains his belt or whatever, and I go into the post-fight conference, and it was mentioned by Andre himself and his father that his father was the one that told him to stop all that wild shit that he was doing, the offensive shit, and just sit down and box and do what he was doing. So and his father co-signed that. So I'm thinking to myself too, it just could be it could just be some bad advice, maybe. Because, like I said, Selecki was ready. Selecki was in a position where he put a couple more rounds, he could have been out of there. But I just think his father telling him to just box after he hurt him early, like he did. It wasn't like.
Yeah, look, man, I get where you coming from, but Andre, he's at this level where you gotta fucking know, man. And the thing is, when someone says, "Okay, man, stop all the wild shit now, nigga, box," that don't mean you say, "Okay, let me slow the fight down, throw 30 punches around, and land a few pot shots that might buzz the guy, hurt him a little, and just keep at this little pedestrian pace." When I got 7,000 fans screaming my name and hype for fucking drama and action. Like, people think boxing just don't mean just slow the fight down. You can still box assertively and throw 50 and 60 punches around. Mm-hmm. And Andre could have just settled down and boxed and still fucking broke this guy down. But instead of settling down and boxing consistently, he settled down on some damn pedestrian pot shot and shit.
Yeah.
Where was the double and triple jabs? Like, come on, man. Like I don't know, man. In case you ain't noticed, I ain't giving niggas excuses tonight.
No, not at all. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm trying to be entertained, goddammit.
Yeah, it's just basically just try. Like Alexa, it's clear that Andre is of a, he's a high. He is a top middleweight. There's no question about that.
He's number 3. Like, if you want to say, I got Golovkin as number 1, Canelo number 2, and for the niggas who like, man, but Canelo the ring. Look, man, I seen this man lose twice, and the judges bail him out. Look, I can't have him as number 1. That's just my personal opinion. But for the sake of the division, you can have him as number 1. I can understand that. I wouldn't even argue with you. But I look at it like, whatever you decide, Canelo, Golovkin, whatever, After them is Andre. He's legit number 3 right now at middleweight.
Yeah, I can see that. There's no question about that. I mean, that sound logic to me.
Don't fucking mention no goddamn Danny Jacobs.
No, like Danny is not. I mean, he could have been, but
He fought for a little bit, but then after this fight, like Andre, because Andre with his performance of Select, he basically put him over, and Jacobs lost his belt, and then he probably gonna go up to super middleweight if he's smart.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, definitely. So after Andre, there's whoever the fuck you decide at this point. Shit, Korobov, Charlo. I don't know. Brandt.
Derevyanchenko.
Yeah, him. I think with Kolke's in there. Yeah, it's a whole bunch of other randoms up there. That all need to fight each other instead of waiting around for the pick me lottery.